And like that, we are on the air. I'm going to be asking a question today which comes right off the dome because of what is in the news today. And this is, once again, another celebrity keeping himself relevant. But as you can see in the title of the video, I am going to ask, has Kanye West hurt the image of the GOP? Has the Republican Party been damaged for associating themselves with Kanye West? Or is this no big deal? Obviously, we know Kanye West has met with President Trump several times recently. We know that he has been on the television screen with folks like Candace Owens. He met Alex, whose name cannot even be said on his app because of his issues with the victims in Sandy Hook. So we'll just say Alex J. He has been seen associating with a lot of members of the right-wing party, of the Republican Party, of GOP affiliation. So the question we're asking is obvious. Has Kanye West hurt the Republican Party's image? If you're watching the program, as always, I make it clear this is a MAGA-friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their comments. I'll give you plenty of time in the box. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing. Free speech is always protected on this channel, on this program, on these live streams. So, has Kanye West hurt the image of the GOP? Hanging around Candace Owens, as I pointed out. Now he's on A. Jones, who I'm talking about, the guy who just filed for bankruptcy yesterday, or I believe it was today, in regards to the payments he's supposed to make in regards to the Sandy Hook, the whole Sandy Hook issue, and then, of course, meeting with Trump. Has he hurt the image of the GOP? I've had no shortage of folks come to the program and defend statements, comments that Kanye West has stated, saying that he is not anti-Semitic. Obviously, you may have heard that he was on A. Jones' program yesterday defending Adolf, saying that there are good things about Adolf. Once again, talking about J people. So has he hurt the image of the Republican Party? Looking in the comments, I am glad that he is hanging with them because it's helping the blue wave, said Speed Racer, a cartoon that I really adored as a kid. Speed Racer, good name. You're suggesting that by Kanye West associating, affiliating, being seen with Republicans, it helped the blue wave. I'm going to assume that you're probably not alone in that statement. They, in parentheses, they meaning the elites, have them speak the truth because they have to say what is going on. I don't quite get that one, Just Deaths, 1976, if you clarify, I'd love to hear it. Kanye is not the GOP. Was Bird the Democrats? High profile, loose cannon, 1973. In regards to asking, was the late senator, who was a former grand dragon of the KKK, in regards to suggesting that, was he the GOP? I mean, better yet, was he the Democratic Party? Well, listen to detractors of Joe Biden. They tie him to Senator Byrd all the time. So if you want to say that Kanye is not the GOP, then you have to say Senator Byrd is not the Democrats, yet that does not stop Republicans from tying Biden to Senator Byrd all the time. So you're going to have to expect the opposite to happen. And what's happening now is not like what you're talking about in the Biden administration. I mean, Senator Byrd has been dead since 2010. This is happening right now. So if you're going to tie Biden to something that happened 12 years ago, you absolutely would expect Kanye to be tied to the Republican Party. I mean, he's been to Trump's house a few times. It's going to come up. Whether you think it's fair or not, it's going to come up. Trump will lose again, says Felicia ATL. Fair enough. Ye is a joke, says Jermaine Bias. Anybody that reached the pinnacle of success to the point where they were worth $2 billion has been able to not only meet with an actual president, but then to go to his home, he's not a joke. We may not like what Kanye has to say. We may not agree with it, but he's not a joke. He is obviously well entrenched in American society, and he made it to the upper ranks of the Republican Party, which is why I'm asking the question. Has Kanye West hurt the image of the GOP? He's been seen associating, affiliating with the highest ranking members. The commentator, A. Jones, obviously had still has a host of Republicans as listeners. Probably right under someone like Rush Limbaugh. A. Jones is probably the next biggest Republican commentator, I guess, other than maybe Hannity, that would be right under the late Rush Limbaugh. So clearly, Ye has had a lot of access to the upper members of the Republican Party. Has his recent statements hurt the image of that party? That's what we're asking. All right, looking in the box, we'll go right to the box. Kanye just has to take his meds. Craig Smith. I don't know. Welcome to the program and good afternoon. Folks, tap your screen. Get your boy up to 5,000 likes. I'd appreciate that. Plenty of patriots and liberals alike are in the program. Patriots, better yet, MAGA is my preferred guest, but liberals are welcome as well. I don't know what happened to the caller there, Kennel, but you dropped out. Come on back in the box. Downtown. Appreciate the TikTok hat and mustache. Follow the program. Helps out the analytics for those who are new to this type of shit. This is what we do here every day. No banning, no blocking, no censoring. MAGA are the preferred guests. Party unity means a lot. That is where the GOP will struggle. Seems like infighting. Some would argue that. You got Kevin McCarthy trying to be the leader of the Congress, the Republican Congress right now, and not even being able to secure that. Now, Nancy Pelosi has stepped down, and she's been already replaced by an African-American. First one to do that. But on the Republican side, yeah, certainly in Congress, there does seem to be some infighting. Yes, it did hurt his image, says Speed Racer. Trump threw him under the bus. Well, when it comes to Trump, and I'll go right to the box, when it comes to President Trump, he either likes you today or hates you tomorrow. How many folks have Trump spoke very favorable of, very positive of, and threw him under the bus the next day? I mean, we could talk about General Mattis. Hell, Ron DeSanctimonious is now probably the latest victim of that. But Trump has spoke positive of a hell of a lot of people. And then next he spoke, had something to say about it. I even have clips I've played on previous shows of him speaking favorably of Hillary Clinton and what type of Secretary of State she would make if she got the position. He had nothing but accolades to give her. And then obviously, you know, now he despised Hillary Clinton. Looking in the, let's try the Kennel Master again in the box. I don't know what happened the first time, but the box. Good afternoon, Kennel Master. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You able to hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. So, do you believe that Kanye has hurt the image of the GOP at all?
Absolutely. I also think Trump has too, you know. So they just kind of got their butts handed to them in the midterms, and we're just continuing to sink that ship.
Well,
I think it's time to, yeah.
Right now, you still have folks pointing out that the Trump economy was better than the Biden economy, gas prices, inflation rates. You believe that even with the economy of Trump, the record jobs numbers, unemployment rate, you still think he hurt the Republican Party as well?
Oh, I mean, I started several businesses during Trump's administration, so I absolutely saw the benefits of his policy. But right now, we're trying to win moderates. We're trying to win independent votes, and they're completely turned off by all of the drama and the nonsense that Trump and now Kanye are bringing to the party. So
let me ask you this. Did you support Trump personally in 2016?
No.
20? So obviously not in 20 either then.
Well, I was more inclined to the answer is I liked Trump more in 2020. I didn't vote in 2016, and I wasn't really even paying attention in 2016, to be honest with you. But I thought the guy got a bad rap in some instances in the media and whatnot. But now it's just ridiculous. I mean, he's attacking other Republicans. He's, I think, really hurting the party with a lot of, like you said, Ron DeSanctimonious and all this nonsense that he's blaming everyone else but himself. I mean, the dude has turned the Republican Party into his own platform. I think,
Yeah.
and another thing is, yeah,
So
sorry.
what you're saying, the way you said it, it does make sense. You didn't vote in 2016, but you had a business, as you said, during the Trump administration. You did very well, which you're going to give Trump credit for, but you do see the damage his rhetoric and his constant attacks and tweets has done to the party.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So so you don't believe he is the, because right now he's obviously running for 2024. You don't believe he is the best Republican candidate going forward for the Republican Party.
Not if they want to win.
Mm, mm.
If it's about virtue signaling and it's about, the narrative, then I guess Trump serves some kind of purpose. But winning elections, I don't think he's the one to do it.
Wow. Even with the economy and all, it just the rhetoric has smashed them.
Now look at your comment section. No one cares about the economy. They don't see it that way, I mean, people are way more concerned about other things. I personally think a functioning economy needs to come first, but that's it's a democratic republic, It's you have to sway the normal people, of which I think I hopefully am one.
Let me run this by you. Wade Bailey in the comments is suggesting that Kanye is the representatives of Republicans, not Trump. So this individual is suggesting that, Trump is a representative. How could Kanye be hurting the party? So I'm asking that, how do you see Kanye as hurting the Republican Party when folks might suggest that he's not even a Republican?
I think you did a really good job equating it to Robert Byrd, and there's obviously other people like on the other side of the aisle. And just to qualify, I consider myself to be an independent or a centrist, but the the analogy is apt, my friend. I mean, if you're letting these types of people come and sit at your table and break bread with you, I think you bear some sort of responsibility. At the very least, you should have Trump, or I mean, there are Republicans coming out, but Trump should issue some sort of statement saying, I categorically don't agree with any of this nonsense.
Why
Instead,
hasn't he,
it's,
I
yeah,
think he hasn't done that. Consider how bad Nick Fuentes, because you think, I mean, Kanye was obviously defending Adolf on the radio yesterday, but Nick
wow.
Fuentes, yeah, Nick Fuentes had some pretty harsh statements in his comment in his past about not being in favor of women's rights, not being in favor of LGBT rights, and saying that African Americans should have their hands chopped off for theft and things like that. So the question I would ask, why do you believe now that Trump has met with both Ye and Nick Fuentes, why haven't he come out and more strongly condemn these people?
Because Trump is an influencer, he's not a politician. He has his own personal brand, and he's going to be, doing air quotes, successful without being president or being president. Dude has billions of dollars. He's going to become rich if he doesn't win another election. So to him, it doesn't matter. It's just a circus.
Yeah, but you mentioned his brand. Is his brand not harmed by hanging with these type of people?
Honestly, don't think so. Strangely enough, it's very strange. Honestly,
So if his brand is not
it's
damaged by
damaged with
hanging
me.
around with
It's damaged
known,
with me.
hanging around he's hanging around folks who are saying pretty obvious anti-Semitic language, racist language. If that does not hurt his brand, who is supporting his brand?
Well, look at it this way. In 2016, he was very much a these people hate you, so vote for me, I represent you kind of candidate, right?
Okay.
And that changed in 2020 to, and I think this is why he's losing now, is they hate me, you guys fall on the funeral pyre for me. It's the opposite perspective now. So with
Right.
the oh, you guys are hated, I represent you guys who are hated crowd, they eat all this Kanye and Nick Fuentes stuff up. They associate that narrative with, oh, well, I can't say what I want to say, or I can't think what I want to think. And I really think that this kind of nonsense resonates with those types of people. They feel like they're justified in their bigotry, if you will, or their
Fair.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Fair enough. I do got to move it on, but I want to run
Yeah,
one
man.
more question by come out of the comments. William Colby in the comments said, "Really, the hell with feelings. I'm trying to take care of my family." So, in other words, damn what they're saying. If the economy is strong and I can feed my family, what they're saying should not be what you vote for. How do you respond to that?
Admittedly, I do mildly agree with that sentiment, but you're not going to win elections. Like it doesn't matter. And first of all, let's qualify that Kanye and Nick Fuentes point are
Did I lose you there, Kennel? Okay,
Republican.
I'll give you.
I
Okay,
think
you're
am I
going in and
back
out.
now? Am I
Yeah,
back
go
now?
ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if you want to win an election to keep the economy strong, then you have to run a candidate that's going to win. So facts and feelings and all this nonsense, run a candidate that's actually going to win and make the economy stronger, not some rotting dog meat of a candidate that's got so much baggage attached that's not going to win, you know?
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on, but that was a hell of a statement. Rotting dog meat of a candidate. Is this our first time talking?
Yes, sir. I watch you a lot, but I love your show, man.
Absolutely. Come on back anytime. It's a pleasure. Anytime you see me, I'll put you back on. Good talk.
Take care, sir.
All right. Looking at the comments, go right back to the box. I never been laid off so much since this administration, says Ford Charles. There are an infinite number of jobs out there. How are you being laid off so much in an economy where you have employers literally saying they can't find people to work? That doesn't resonate with what the elite what the employers are actually saying. For Charles, I have never been laid off so much since this administration. First question to ask would be, what particular field are you working in? Because as I just stated, they're claiming they can't even find people to work all of these jobs. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Looking in the box, we'll go right back. I won't bloviate too long. Oh, the man, the myth, one of my favorite MAGA participants, 52 Cent. Haven't talked to you in a couple. 52 Cent. Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon to you, young man. How are you?
It's a pleasure having you back on. I have to ask the question. Yay, Kanye West, has he hurt the image of the GOP in your opinion?
Kanye West is calling more of the rats out of the closet.
He defended Adolf. How do you feel about that? Said there are plenty of good things to say about the man.
Well, he invented the Volkswagen.
Okay. So you do agree that Adolf has a lot of good qualities, as Kanye would say.
No, I'm not going to say he has a lot of good qualities, but the Volkswagen's been around since the 40s.
So if Jeffrey Dahmer was actually able to perfect a really good flavor of Lori seasoning salt, you'd be okay because he did perfect seasoning salt.
Well, yeah, and he had a lot of subjects to test it on, so
Right.
yeah,
Exactly my point.
no,
So
if okay, I'm going to just say this. If the media was run by dogs,
okay.
and the media is biased, then it's the dog's fault.
If the media is run by dogs and the media is biased, then okay, I get what you're saying, and the dogs are wearing 6-point star medallions. I get what you're trying to say. So at the end of the day, do you believe Kanye, what he is saying is more fact than anti-Semitism?
It is fact. Look at the media. Look at television. Look at
Okay,
these companies pushing all the pedophile ads and crap. It's
so let
not
me.
the. Here's the thing:
Okay, go
a
ahead.
tattoo on a woman looks like shit, and if you don't have the balls to call it out, then you're not doing her you're doing her a disservice.
Did you say a tattoo on a woman looks like shit?
Oh, they're horrible.
That is misogynistic. I'm going to discount. I've seen plenty
Well,
of
they look
females with.
stupid
I mean,
on men too, but I don't care about men. I'm telling
uh,
you that
let me go. Okay, let me go. Let me get off. Let me go back to your statement about if the dogs run the media and the media is biased, the dogs are at fault. When we talk about who runs the media, the entertainment industry in Hollywood in this country, we know it is Jewish people. But what about the fact that we could say the same thing that if the dogs run politics and politics is biased, then it's the dog's fault? Meaning that throughout America's history, our political system is overwhelmingly ran by white males. Period. Everywhere you look, it is mostly white males. And there's a hell of a lot of corruption in politics, just like there is in the entertainment and movie industry. So could you say the exact same thing about white males based on your statement that they run all of Washington, they run all of national politics, and since politics is corrupt, white males are corrupt? Would you take that same statement?
The media
Check this out.
industry, the media industry is owned by the dogs. Okay?
In politics, Washington politics is owned by white males.
Because there's more white males.
Right. So I'm asking the question, could the same thing that folks are saying about Jewish people, because the media in Hollywood is corrupt, could you say the exact same thing about white males because politics is corrupt?
It's not bought, it's voted. The thing is, like you look up at Hamtramck, Michigan, where they play the Arab music in the streets and this, that, and the other. The people in that community vote for Arabs. So it's based on the numbers.
Okay, wait, you do realize that the overwhelming majority of American history, only people who really could vote are white people, right? I mean, the overwhelming majority of this country's history, most other people that were non-whites could not vote at all. So I'm asking the question, because of how the system was set up, is it safe to say that white males are corrupt, just like the folks over the entertainment industry?
Well, some of them are, especially if they're dogs.
But we're not saying some of them when we're talking about Hollywood and the music industry. He's making
Well,
it
the
sound like they
difference
all
between
are.
that is the media is bought. It's owned by those people.
No, the media's not owned by them. You got Tyler Perry. You got folks. You got plenty of folks. Oprah Winfrey owns a lot of media. Bill O'Reilly owns a lot of media. You can get into media just like
And
you
you
can get
don't
into
hear people
politics.
complaining about Oprah. Everybody loves Oprah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Trump didn't like her, but the point I'm trying to make, though, is that literally the same argument that that Kanye and folks defending Kanye is making about the movie and entertainment and media industry could be made about white males in regards to national politics. You don't see any connections to that at all?
No, because it's voted. And it's like I said, if you take a cluster of people, let's say you moved all Pomeranians to Detroit, then a Pomeranian's going to get elected.
Yeah, but when you look at national politics, it is overwhelmingly to the tune of probably 90% of politicians in this country are white males.
90%
Period.
of the population are white males.
You really did. Who the hell is creating all these kids if there's no women? That doesn't make sense. You think 90% of the American population are white males?
Well, here lately, a lot of the women want to be men. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with that.
All right, 52. I gotta move it on. I'm on a lunch break. You know, I'm always a fan of having you on, but I gotta move
Did
it
you
on,
have
man.
a good Thanksgiving?
I ate plenty of turkey and sat around, watched football, and listened to Kanye. So I don't know.
That's a good Thanksgiving then. All right,
All
bless
right,
you,
man.
my friend.
Absolutely a pleasure. Come on back through anytime. As I make it clear on every broadcast, this is a MAGA friendly program. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone. The fact that I lean left, the purpose of the hat is to let folks know this is not only a MAGA friendly program, but folks on the right, I defend free speech no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I'll give you plenty of time in the box to state your point without any fear of being banned, blocked, or censored. That's not what we do here. It's all about civilized dialogue. Going back to the comments and then to the box, we have let our government run amok and go corrupt. It's time to reset and get back to, and your comment got cut off there, Wilhelm, 1972. In regards to your statement, we've let our government run amok and go corrupt. That goes to the statement, make America great again. The question we have to say, if you say we have let our government go corrupt and run amok, the first question, when was our government not corrupt? Make America great again. What point are you talking about going back to where our government was great and not corrupt? Going to the box. We have Ginger Bearded Texan, a friend of the program. Welcome back, Ginger Texan. And by the way, folks, follow the channel, helps out your boy on the algorithms, and tap the screen. 10,000 likes are highly possible. 600 patriots and liberals in this room. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Ginger Bearded Texan, is Ye hurting the image of the Republican Party in your opinion?
No.
So do you believe he's saying anything that's anti-Semitic?
Yes.
Okay. And
but he's
the
not,
fact
he's
that
not part of the Republican Party. Remember?
No, but he's hanging around the president. If Obama was inviting Farrakhan to the White House, you don't think that would hurt his image at all?
But you're asking an apples and oranges question. Is it
How
hurting?
are they different? How are they different?
Is it hurting Trump's image? Yes. Is it hurting the party? No.
But if a large portion of the Republican Party supports Trump, and you're admitting they're supporting somebody with a tainted image, how does that not spill on the party?
I don't think Trump has the support that he thinks he has or that people say he has anymore. I think he's pissed a lot of people off. He's already starting to pull his normal crap with DeSantis, and a lot of people like DeSantis. You know, I think he's digging his own hole, and that's just the way it is. Now with Nick Fuentes, he claims that he didn't know who this guy was, and
do you believe that? Do you personally believe that?
I got to take the guy at the word. I mean,
you believe he didn't know? Do you believe he didn't know Stormy Daniels when he said that?
No.
Do you believe he didn't know David Duke when he said that?
Yes.
David Duke ran for president of this country in the 1970s. You believe another president contender did not even recognize a presidential candidate that happened during his adult lifetime? You believe that?
Kanye West ran for president in 2020. He got less than 100,000 votes in total. Didn't qualify in over half of the states in this country.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone from our age
group. And the minute Kanye West started, spewing his own crap in the last few weeks that got him fired from all his contracts, that was a dumb move on Trump's part. Just dumb.
Okay.
It was political suicide.
Here's a question I want to ask you. Now, Nick Fuentes, who Trump said he didn't know. Now, obviously, Trump, being a former president, has Secret Service protection for the rest of his natural life. So the question
Correct.
I'm asking you is, you don't believe the Secret Service, knowing they have to screen the people coming into the home. You don't think any of them, nobody at all, did a background check on the guy who could be an Islamic terrorist for all we know? They didn't do any check and let the president know who's entering his home? You really believe that Kanye could just bring somebody in there that nobody knows?
I can't think of the name of the group that he formed, but they're known as a hate group. I don't understand how he could have gotten in there when he's leading what is defined as a hate group.
Yeah. So is it possible, just let me know on your personal analyzation, is it possible that Trump actually knew this guy was part of a hate group and actually gave him a welcome to come in the home anyway? Is that any possibility?
Sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibilities. We only know what he says, and we only know what Kanye says.
Right. So I guess the follow-up question would be, in your opinion at least, why do you believe Trump has not been more forthcoming in condemning this guy, Nick Fuentes?
Uh, because Trump is an egomaniac and he doesn't want to look like he made a mistake. Because he does not like to ever say that he was wrong or mistaken.
Well, if I'm Joe Biden and I'm walking up these steps to a 747 and I fall 3 times, it doesn't matter if I get up and smile and wave to the crowd. People know I made a mistake. You don't have to admit you made a mistake. You're going to have to say something about this. Inviting Nick Fuentes in your house, and when he leaves, it's akin to getting up from falling down the 747 steps and waving. People saw that. You
Yeah, but
don't
if
think you
Trump
should have
fell
to
down
say
the steps
something?
of a 747, he's going to blame it on the steps or the carpet or something like that. Remember who we're talking about.
That's
We've
an
watched this
excellent
guy. We've watched this guy. I mean, come on, let's get real on this.
That's an excellent response. You got me with that one. He's going to get up and blame the steps. Okay. So, but
And
you don't.
I
But
supported the guy. I mean, I supported him in 2016, and I voted for him in 2020 just because I didn't want Biden. We had poor
right.
choices on both sides, in my opinion. I had to
would
hold my
you
nose and pick one.
would you support him in 24?
No, I would
Uh,
rather. I would rather if he is the candidate, I will not vote for president.
wow.
I won't vote Democrat, but I will not vote for him.
So let me ask you this: out of the 74 million votes, if you had to take a wild ass guess, you're on the Price is Right, you want to name the number closest to the number. If you had to take a wild ass guess, how many of them 74 million voters are still MAGA, still hardcore Trump supporters?
Maybe 50%, but I think it's
A
going to
lot
drop.
of fucking people. That's
Yeah,
still a
well,
huge. That's a lot, man.
I think when we start seeing more candidates entering the race is when you'll see a lot more of that tapering off. There's a lot of people that have kind of started to distance themselves from Trump, but there's no other candidate yet out there. I mean, he just declared, and it's 2 years before the presidential election. Nobody else but Trump would do that.
So I got to move it on, but before I let you go, if let's take what you're saying, out of 74 million people, you still believe as much as 37 million folks are diehard Trump supporters. Based on that, him running in 2024 would, let's say he has 30 million locked in. How could any other Republican candidate give him any type of competition?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Once you get through the primaries, or once you get into primary season, when you've got more candidates in the mix, you'll see his numbers taper off. I'm pretty
Okay.
confident about that.
You think someone like Ron the Sanctimonious, if I'm correct, you think somebody like that could siphon votes from Trump?
Oh, definitely, because he is Trump's policies without Trump's mouth
Yeah,
and
I agree
without
with that.
Trump's ego. I mean, you got to be
All right.
somewhat of an egomaniac to run for president anyway, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not to this extreme.
Fair enough. All right.
His time's done. And one more point to that is everybody's talking about how old Biden is and how old Biden will be when he gets out of office or runs again in 24. Well, you're in the same boat with Trump.
Yeah, but
As far as age.
they
So
believe Trump has a stronger level of sanity and awareness. They think Biden has dementia, so that's why the age on Trump is not making much of a difference in their mindset. I disagree. I believe Biden is pretty much totally sane, but a lot of my folks on the right believe that Biden is not within his faculties. So they're seeing Biden as like a 90-year-old compared to Trump.
right, but they're also doing the same thing when they've been talking about Pelosi in Congress and
Yeah.
wanting her and some of the older generation to step down from leadership positions to let newer, younger blood in who's more connected with the current generations, not the ones that are, half of them are in a grave.
Yeah. It's interesting you would say that because the Republicans just put Mitch McConnell, who's already in his 80s,
He's 80.
to another term. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of hypocritical.
Dumb. Exactly. It's dumb. And that's the point I'm kind of trying to make. You just made my
Fair
point
enough.
for me.
Absolutely. Good talk, Ginger. I got to move it on. Come on back to anytime, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, Tim. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, you too. All right, look. Comments. He does have onset of dementia, says Steve McDonald. I think that says 412. In regards to does Biden have is he dealing with early dementia? By the way, tap the screen, get your boy up to 15,000 likes. You guys are on point today. MAGA friendly audience. Liberals are welcome on the program, but yeah, tap the screen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. 15,000 is possible. Biden, early onset of dementia. I will tell you this based on my own personal analysis, your humble correspondent. What I have seen is the overwhelming majority of folks suggesting that Biden has some type of mental illness has no access to Biden. You got folks like Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, Ted Cruz. These are people who have access to the president. None of them are claiming that he has onset dementia. In fact, you got more Republicans nowadays that are criticizing Trump than they are of President Biden. They don't like Biden's policies, but I have not heard of any significant number of Republican senators, Congress, or even governors claiming that Biden is not within his faculties. The overwhelming majority of people saying that Biden has onset dementia, early signs of dementia, are people that have no access to that man. And there are plenty of Republicans that do have access to him. Let me hear it from people who have actually sat down with him and are not diagnosing it from the television screen. That's all I ask, trying to be fair. Going back to the box. Huge I cannot pronounce. I'll just go huge. And I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. I don't normally call anyone huge, but huge. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Hey, good afternoon. We're asking a question today. Do you believe with all of the statements that have come out recently from Kanye, is he hurting the image of the Republican Party?
Yeah.
Elaborate. What makes you see him as harming the image?
Cause he's a Trump meat rider, and he's
Okay, wait, you said because he's a what?
Trump rider.
I'm not able to understand what you're saying. You said because he's a Trump what?
Rider. Like he's really onto Trump.
Okay, there's a lot of Americans that are really into Trump, though. Does simply being really into Trump hurts his image?
I think he is rooting for Trump by saying that he likes Hitler and stuff.
Yeah. So how do you feel about folks who have come on before you suggesting that, Kanye is not the Republican Party? And yeah, he's saying some crazy stuff, but him simply saying crazy stuff is not hurting the party.
I think he's hurting the party because he has tight relations with Trump, and Trump likes him, and they would have the same mindset.
So do you believe some of the things that Kanye has said recently are anti-Semitic?
What's anti-Semitic?
You don't know what the phrase anti-Semitic means?
If I support what he's saying?
Statements that are essentially bigoted towards Jewish people.
Oh, so if I think what he said is right, or overall?
Wait, repeat that. You're kind of sounding. I can't. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but it went off. Okay, going on to we'll move it on. Kanye has valid points, says Jacob Middleton. In regards to him having valid points, with him defending Adolf and speaking positively of Adolf, is that a valid point? Like I stated before, what if someone testifies during trial that Jeffrey Dahmer is attractive? That may be a valid point to somebody. Is that the point to make on somebody that has been involved in such atrocities? That's also why I am presenting that question to you guys who are tuned in regards to whether Kanye is hurting the Republican Party, because even if he's making valid points, he is causing a lot of Republicans over the what is her name? Candace Owens, all of these folks have been defending Kanye saying that what he said was, as you say, a valid point. It was not anti-Semitic. And meanwhile, Kanye has been stepping up the level of his rhetoric. Will you see him hanging out with Candace Owens anymore? Will he be invited to Mar-a-Lago again? That's what we're asking. All right, going back to the box, authentically becoming friend of the program. Welcome back, authentically. If my TikTok app for some reason is not acting right today. Let's try this again. Authentically becoming, apparently it did not bring you on. We'll try Big Ivy. Okay, there it seems to be working this time. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Scrolling forward, Candace Owens stands with Ye. Yeah, she's on camera with him. And she's obviously a Republican. She's obviously had ties to a lot of the upper echelon of the Republican Party. So all of this is linked. That's why we're asking is Big Ivy. Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Good to have you back on. Do you think that Kanye is hurting the image of the Republican Party?
I kind of think he's a weapon against what do you call it, Elon Musk.
You
Because
think
Elon Musk,
Kanye, how is he a weapon against Elon?
because he
Hang
recently
on a
put him
second.
back on.
Wait, repeat that?
He recently put him back on Twitter, and he's coming out with all this anti-Semitic and all this other crap, and
So,
they're going to use that against him.
so you do believe what Kanye is saying is anti-Semitic, though?
Yes, he
Okay.
likes Hitler and Nazis. You need to quit picking on Nazis.
Yeah. So how do you feel that Trump has been inviting this guy to his house? He's met with Trump several times, and Trump has not condemned him. What does that say about Trump?
That he hasn't condemned him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He hasn't condemned neither Kanye or Nick Fuentes.
I think he's mad as hell at Kanye, and I think didn't he kick him out? Didn't he throw him out?
Yeah, but kicking them out is not necessarily the equivalent of condemnation. Nobody knows if he put them out or not.
How many times he condemned them? How many times he condemned white supremacy? I mean, it's a mute point at this. Yeah.
Well,
It won't do no good.
But wait a minute, if you condemn white supremacy, you're talking about after Charlottesville in 2017. If you condemn white supremacy, but then in 2022, 5 years later, you invite a white supremacist in your house, you can't see how people might question your condemnation if it was authentic or not.
I don't think Trump invited him. Kanye said, "You mind if I come by and bring a friend?" I'm sure Trump found out who he was. I don't know why he brought him in, but they didn't invite him.
So do you believe President Trump when he stated he had no clue who this guy was, talking about Nick Fuentes?
No, I believe he knew who he was, because you don't just go up to the president,
Right. So because Nick Fuentes, for folks who are suggesting that Kanye West has said anti-Semitic stuff, Nick Fuentes has taken that 10 times the distance. He said flat out, I don't support women's rights. I don't support LGBT rights. He said that African Americans who were caught shoplifting should have their hands chopped off. He said some pretty strong stuff. If you are admitting that you believe Trump knew who Nick Fuentes was and still let him in his house, how does that reconcile with your statement about condemning white supremacy? You know what this guy is. That would be the equivalent of President Biden letting Senator Byrd in his house while he's wearing a Grand Dragon outfit. How do you equate that?
I don't know. I can't say everybody's trying to set him up, but anybody that does say anything bad against Trump or goes against Trump is going to make some money.
Well, but this isn't saying something bad against Trump. You would have to admit, if you actually personally believe Nick Fuentes is a supremacist, and you actually believe, as you stated, that Trump knew he was a supremacist before letting him in his house, you'd have to admit that criticizing Trump on this is not saying something bad about Trump, but rather something legitimate.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay. So at the end of the day, do you think these characters, Kanye West and Nick Fuentes, are hurting the image of the GOP?
Yes.
Okay. So you yourself, did you support Trump in 16 or 20?
Yes,
Both times.
both times. Yeah,
Would
but
you
I think
support him in 2024? Do you think he's the right man for the job in 24?
probably not. I think
Oh,
he's done played most of his star power out. But who
wow.
knows?
So let me ask you. This is in regards to in the comments. Josephine is asking a legitimate question. Why do you have to blame Trump for what other people say? How do you respond to something like that? If you're admitting that Trump is probably not the right guy, that hanging around these people is hurting them, how do you respond to somebody who asks, why do you blame Trump for what other people are saying?
I don't know. Why do I blame those people for it, though? I don't know.
No answer on. Go ahead.
No, no answer on that one.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, I won't push it too hard, man. Come on back to as always. I'm gonna go ahead and move it on, Ivy. It's
All
always a
right,
good talk.
all right. We'll
All right,
see.
you too, you too. All right, look comments. Yes and no. It GOP leadership, Mitch. Your statement there is missing some pieces there. In regards to the comments, real quick, Trump has influence. He was president. He wants to run the country. That is true, Miranda. Look in here. Thoughtful guy. It was a nice little 3,500. I don't get that comment. Let me go back to the box. We have I can beam 7 quarts or something like that. Let me try to break this happen. Some reason my TikTok is not acting a bit flaky. By the way, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes as we try to navigate this app. The question we're asking is Kanye West hurting the image of the GOP. And as I make it clear on every broadcast for you guys who are tuning in, this is a MAGA friendly program. Don't let the name scare you away. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Give you plenty of time in the box to state your point. Regardless if you agree with the host or not, it doesn't mean a damn thing here. Everybody's right to free speech, to my strongest ability, will always be defended here. I have to throw in a disclaimer. I don't control the TikTok gods, so at the end of the day, some of them may have a different idea in regards to free speech, but we make it work here. We maintain civilized dialogue, so don't worry about that. Going back to the comment section and then onto the box, the Republicans will drop Herschel Walker like a bad habit if he loses. Delta 331, I would refer to that comment as a home run. I do strongly believe if Herschel Walker loses his race next week, that'll be the end of any national affiliation he has with the Republican Party. That'll be the end of him. So I do agree with that. Do you think we need to let illegals in our borders? No, but we need to follow the law that's on the books. There are laws in regards to how folks who are non-American citizens can gain access to the country. We need to follow those rules and follow the law. I'll leave it at that. Kanye is hurting them, says Speed Racer. Okay, let me go back to the box. I think it may be working now. Dude advice. Dude advice. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Is Ye hurting the image of the GOP?
Thanks for taking my request. I've been watching you for a while now. I really appreciate your show. You're very insightful, and you are definitely not just one-sided. So I really appreciate that. What I would say about Kanye West, I really feel that mainstream media, as they've always done in the past, they'll take any little flake, any little flaw, any little sliver of anybody around the Trump campaign or Trump himself and blow it up to be the most diabolical evil sin on the creation of mankind. And so, with that said, I don't believe that Kanye is hurting his image. I believe mainstream media, as we have seen since 2015, going into 2016, they continue to do. I do not agree with Nick Fuentes in any way, shape, or form. However, I don't know that any of us have not knowingly or unknowingly had a conversation with somebody of maybe a prejudice or racist. Now, I don't know anyone that has outwardly said that they're racist. I would not associate with them if I did. Now, if and the other point I want to make,
Before you
how
get to the second point, let me respond to the first. That way, I don't lose my place here. In regards
absolutely,
to I believe I find what you said to be absolutely correct. And we've probably all talked to some racists and people who have said things that are out and out repugnant. However, you and I do not have the power of the Secret Service behind us. Whereas, if you or I talk to a racist, like you stated, I probably haven't heard anybody say that. Whereas if you got Secret Service protection, you have people that can advise you ahead of time. The dude you're talking to sucks. So you and I might not know, but based on what Trump has access to, it's hard to believe that he did not know. Do you see
I
anything in that?
I guess my question to you would be: you say Secret Service protection. Do we think that the Secret Service is protecting Trump? Because there's a lot of indications that they haven't. Maybe in the physical manner, but it was also the Secret Service and the CIA and the DOJ that went into Mar-a-Lago without warrants and searched him. That was actually non-lawfully. They went in there, and to this day, we're starting to find out more and more that it was a big nothing burger. Now, there's a trend here. Every single attack that has come upon Donald Trump has gone void. It has gone void. He has no criminal charges. I'm not
Well,
saying
wait.
the man is unflawed. I'm not saying he's perfect. Believe me, I voted for Donald Trump in 16 and in 20. I do not agree with everything, for sure. I think he's a little bit crass. I think he needs to tone it down a little bit, be more presidential, and he's not. But I think overall, his policies are doing good for America.
Let me ask you this based on your own personal opinion. We don't know, so it's an opinion. Do you believe Trump was telling the truth when he said he didn't know who the hell Nick Fuentes was?
I do. And I think he was going on the word of Kanye. I believe his meeting in his mind was more Kanye West is coming and he's bringing a guest. And if you think about that, that is the story. That's the actual storyline that CNN actually will tell you that Trump was meeting with Kanye and a guest. And I believe Trump trusted Kanye. Now, he might not trust him again in the same manner. He might want to dig a little deeper next time someone says they're bringing a guest in. But I believe he was going on Kanye's word, who Kanye has had Trump's back, and he didn't dig deeper. I think he made an assumption, and it was an error to do so. But I also think this: if somebody is of a different mindset, if we don't have dialogue and sit with somebody of a different mindset, or maybe has some really bad thoughts, how can we convince them otherwise? How can we even sit down and say, your thinking is flawed here?
Are you familiar with Ben Shapiro?
I absolutely.
Okay, how do you feel? Okay, he made the statement. The best way to avoid having dinner with an anti Semitic that you do not know is to avoid having dinner with an anti Semitic that you do know. And this is what Ben Shapiro tweeted out to Trump, basically saying the best way, if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, the best way to avoid having dinner with a racist that you don't know is not to have dinner with a racist that you do know. Meaning that if you got dinner with Kanye West, who he did know, that's making all these statements that many folks feel are anti-Semitic, the idea that an anti-Semitic person might bring another anti-Semitic person to your house for dinner should be understandable. And that's the point. How do you feel about Ben Shapiro saying that?
Yeah, I don't disagree with his point at the surface. But again, going back to the original meeting, I believe Donald Trump was on the surface having Kanye West coming over with a guest. And I believe he overlooked who this other person was. If in hindsight he could do it again, I don't believe he would. But I
You don't
believe
you don't think walking into the home of a former president, let's take the Secret Service out of it. Let's just take Trump being a very successful businessman. He's been at the elite points in American society for most of our lives, well since the 70s, if not the early 80s. You don't think if someone showed up to his house with a guest, he would even ask who the guest is? You think he would just let you, because he knows you, he would just let you bring whoever you wanted to his house? You believe
well
that?
well I believe he would, and I believe if you break it down to a simpler level, if I have somebody that I trust, a friend of mine that I've had a rapport with, like he had rapport with Kanye, I believe that he would say, "Hey, if my good friend came to the front door with a stranger, I would let him in my house based on our rapport. He's not going to bring an enemy of mine
You're
necessarily."
not. Yeah, but you're not a former president that might have millions of people wanting to take your life. I mean, even if you, let's say you're on the run from the cops or something, where you know you're in danger, and a good friend says, "I'm coming by with somebody," you wouldn't ask who that person is, knowing your own precarious situation. You wouldn't even
But
ask who they are.
but I guess the question would be, do we think Nick Fuentes is a physical threat? That's kind of what we're going into with that example. He's not necessarily a physical threat. He's done public speaking again. We make it very clear. Do not agree with the man whatsoever. But he's not a physical threat. He has been out in the public and he has given speeches and he is a public I would say a public image or a public, he has some, whatever his following is, he has some. So I guess your example is someone of maybe would actually be physical threat. I don't think that would ever be a.
It could be somebody who is going to do something, whether snitch on you so the police arrest you or whatever you got going on in your life. You wouldn't ask at all. Who is the person you bring into dinner?
Not if I have rapport with that friend that I trust.
Okay,
To be truthful,
right. That-
if I trusted you and we were friends, me and you, we hung out, we've done dinner before, we had some rapport, and you came to my front door with a friend, you'd say, "Hey, John, this is my guy, Jack. He's cool. We're cool. All right, cool. We break bread." I
Okay,
wouldn't necessarily, again, I'm not the president. I give you that.
so so let me. I gotta move it on soon, but before I let you go, I have to ask you this question. Now that we know he did meet with Nick Fuentes and we know what Nick Fuentes is all about, any reason why he didn't condemn the guy yet? He hasn't strongly condemned him. What do you think is the reason behind that?
I think that Trump, and even on, if you look at this, what I'm about to say goes along with what is happening on his Twitter. He hasn't even commented on his Twitter account. I think Trump is actually hands off. He's taking a backseat and not giving media anything to run with whatsoever. I believe he's not giving any credence to it, either condemning or not condemning, and he's letting speculation be speculation, for
Yeah,
better
but
or worse. For better
man,
or worse.
yeah, but you just met with somebody with statements like Nick Fuentes. If you're choosing now to go silent, your silence is actually going to be loud as hell. The
It
fact
could
that you
be.
with
It
this
could.
guy, you're
It
picking
could
right
be.
now. You're picking right now at the meeting with this guy to go silent.
Uh,
I
it,
mean,
it it could be, and it could also be to his advisors. Many advisors might say, "Don't give them an inch to run with. Don't give them a story. Don't give them a story," because we all know Donald Trump could say. Donald Trump could literally say the sun is, in the middle of the day, the sun is at high noon, and somehow someone will twist it and say, "No, that's actually midnight."
got to interrupt you. You mentioned his advisors. We've had 4 years of Trump in office and 2 years after he's been out of office. Do you really see Trump as somebody who listens to his advisors?
That's a good point. I don't know, but at this, I will say this. I will say this. In his announcement speech of going to run again, he did tone down his rhetoric. So I believe he is starting to pay attention to some advice.
Is it
And that,
not too late?
I'm sorry.
Is it not too late? Do you think he has a decent chance in 24?
I do, and what I also think is mainstream media is pitting him and DeSantis against each other. And at the end of the day, what I really believe it's going to be a DeSantis Trump ticket.
And where would you go?
Uh, Between the two,
Yeah. Trump and
um,
De- Trump and DeSantis in the primary. Who you got?
I got Trump, but I think it's going to be Trump and DeSantis. DeSantis will be his vice president.
That ain't gonna happen. But okay, I gotta move it on. Good talk, real good talk. Come on back to it through
Thank
anytime,
you.
man.
Take care now.
Absolutely.
Bye bye.
In the comments, Trump with DeSantis on the ticket as VP. Does anyone see that? Now, I understand a lot of my MAGA viewers, and I appreciate you guys in here, and tap the screen. 30,000 likes is going to happen today. We can do that. Don't let your thumbs be lazy. Cornstar Gma, I meant to thank you earlier for the hat and mustache. Shout out to you. Appreciate the generosity. But tap your screen. Trump and DeSantis. DeSantis obviously playing the role of VP. I know my MAGA followers will see that as the golden ticket. I don't see it, folks. I've said this before, and I'll go right back to the box. I say this when that comes up all the time. If yours truly, your humble correspondent, which a position I will never be in, but if I was in a position to advise Ron DeSantis, I would tell him, man, you are a highly respected politician among the Republican Party. You probably can govern Florida for multiple terms if you want. You are well favored. Stay away from Trump. Period. You don't want to end up like other well-known, well-respected Republicans that ran afoul of Trump, such as Jeb Bush, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, the late John McCain. You don't want to end up in that category. Let Trump do what he's going to do for 2024. You're young enough that 28, 32, 36, and even 2040 are plenty of options for you. You don't have to do this in 2024 to get in the way of that. Because Jeb Bush had a long career ahead of him before he ran afoul of Trump. Do not get involved in that. That's what I would advise Ron DeSantis to do. You got plenty of time. You're not even 50 yet. Chill and let Trump. Trump is on the sunset of his political career, maybe on the sunset of his life. He's almost 80 years old. Let him do what he's going to do for the next 4 years, and you will always still have Floridians to back you up and say that you're a decent candidate based on how you're running the state of Florida. Stay clear of Trump. That's what I would tell Ron DeSantis. Going back to the box, it is Whistling Vivaldi. I can't pronounce the last name. Interesting names coming through here, but good afternoon.
How are you, brother? Hey, I really appreciate how you're doing this. This is a really, really tempered conversation.
Thank you.
I vehemently disagree with the previous guest on a few different points. I just don't understand where the line is anymore. It seems like we keep moving goalposts. You know, even before this Nick Fuentes, nonsense that occurred, right? Before that, it was David Duke, and then the Oath Keepers and Richard Spencer. And so it's like, I just don't understand, like, how many individuals does this person need to associate with that are known and out white supremacists?
I'm going to give you an analogy, and you let me know if you can tell me to go to hell, whatever the case may be. I invite, any opinion you want to throw out there. But in my opinion, Trump is kind of being treated like a parent would treat his child if the child was trying to score a goal or trying to hit a home run. You would go as close to the kid as possible, throw the easiest pitch. If the kid missed it, you would pretend like that didn't count. You would keep throwing them pitches until he finally hit the ball and say, yay, he hit a home run. That's the way I see it. Because you asked, when are we going to finally see this? I believe that's the way he's being treated with kid gloves.
I agree with that, but the issue that I have with, and I'm pretty independent, the issue that I have with the left is that Trump is, an absolutely terrible face of the Republican Party, but making Trump the scapegoat for all the issues that are simply just inherent conservative issues, I think is flawed. You know what I mean? Because when Trump goes away, the conservative ideology doesn't go away with Trump. That makes sense. Like the policies that are being pushed and everything like that.
But the conservative ideology is not Nick Fuentes or Kanye. It's small government, pro-military, pro-police, pro-Christianity, pro-life. Trump has added all of those extra flavors, at least brought them out. Maybe they existed in the background, but even the FBI has suggested that Trump has brought that stuff out. So I don't think you're right. Conservatism isn't going to go away because conservatism is based on principle. MAGA is based on Trump.
That's fair. Like I do see, I mean, call it what you will. I do see some of the same proponents, and MAGA and conservatism. You know what I mean? Like to ignore the overlap, I think is flawed. But yeah,
based on what you said, I want you to respond. Ford Charles in the comments, strong statement, said Trump is not a racist leader. Are you ignorant? How do you deal with folks who have those type of opinions?
I think they're too far gone. I don't deal with folks that have those kind of opinions. It's like there's people that wanna sit here and argue with individuals that are like clear, like individuals that will just take something that's plain and simple, and because of their bias, try to make it fit, in their paradigm, and it simply doesn't fit, right? I think Ben Shapiro is one of those individuals. Ben Shapiro is a very, very conservative individual, right? And he puts out a lot of conservative ideology. But as soon as that conservative ideology starts turning back and attacking his Jewish roots, right? He tries to act like there's not a correlation there, right? If it's anti-black, if it's anti-immigrant, if it's anti-whatever else, he's fine with it. He'll even champion it, right? As soon as it gets to the point where it's anti-Semitic, all of a sudden Ben Shapiro's there because it actually hits close to home. You know what I mean? So
it leads to the question: has Trump hanging around Nick Fuentes and people like Kanye hurt the Republican Party with Jewish people?
I don't think Jewish people, for the most part, went Republican in the first, like, to begin with. You know what I mean? I don't think Trump. Here's what I'm seeing, all right, and I'm gonna let somebody else get on. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that smart conservatives are now starting to back DeSantis, right? The upper establishment of the Republican Party is starting to back DeSantis because he is exactly what Trump is, except he is tempered, right? Yeah. He is calculated, right? And so they're saying that he is a much better face of the Republican Party. I completely disagree with his ideology, his policies. I find him, ethically compromised. But he is a better face for the Republican Party than Trump is, because Trump is always bringing up all these negative headlines and whatnot, right? And I see that the conservative base as a whole still backs Trump, where the conservative establishment is trying to get away from him, but don't know if they can because the base is still supporting him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
All right, fair enough. Before I let you go, I asked one of the callers previously, out of the 74 million that supported Trump, how many folks, if he had to guess, are still on board? You're saying something similar. If you had to guess, out of the 74 million that supported Trump, what percentage of those do you think are still on board with MAGA?
I really don't think the majority of conservatives are on board with MAGA. It's just that MAGA is the face of the conservative party, right? So even in 2020, right, I don't think the majority of conservatives were MAGA, but Trump was the conservative candidate, so they are kind of forced to support him, right? And I think that the midterms are evidence of that, right? Everyone that Trump basically attached himself to, for the most part, right, lost their election. So
yeah, but I agree with you in 2022. I disagree with you in 2020. 2020 is before the January 6th issue and things like that. When Trump was just simply tweeting stuff, the Republican Party was lockstep behind him, which is why he has the second most votes, if you trust the polls, in American history with 74 million votes. So he was the face of the Republican Party in 2020. 2022 is a bit different, but I'll let you get the last word in.
Yeah. I think that by the margin that Biden won by, right, I think that those people that consider themselves moderates or centrists clearly did not, after COVID and after everything that was handled with that and whatever else, right, they clearly did not align with Trump anymore, right? I still think the majority of the base, for the most part, are going to go for Trump. I think the establishment has realized that his time has passed and they're trying to distance themselves from Trump. And I figured that if they can get the rest of the base in line, they're going to go with DeSantis. But if not, they're going to continue to lose completely because Trump has zero chance in 2024. Like it's just
zero chance for the actual presidency. But based on what you're saying, he has a pretty damn good chance for the Republican primary.
Fair enough, if he's not indicted first.
You think there's a chance of that happening? You think they'll succeed in that?
I think it is 100% certain. Right?
But let's make it clear. The only indictment I believe that could affect his presidency, his candidacy for president, is the Merrick Garland document issue. All the rest of that stuff, I think he can still run for president, even if he's convicted of it.
I don't think the president can have any felonies, and some of the other stuff he's accused of are felonies, like in the state stuff, like
I might
Georgia,
be
right?
wrong. Okay, fair
But
enough.
I
I may
think
be ignorant
I
on
don't
that.
have all the information specifically with the state charges, right? Like in Georgia and all that stuff. But from everything that I'm reading anyway, right? And I try to read a lot of conservative pundits and whatnot to hear from what's being said on both sides. There doesn't seem to be a way out of this, like for him. All the evidence seems pretty clear, like out in the open. Like you had documents that you weren't supposed to have, and you continue to lie about it. Therein lies the crime. Like I'm not right now. We're just stalling, because of the bureaucracy, right, in the court system. That's going to take some time. But based on the information that you and I have right now, where's the out?
I'll explain it. I got to move it on, but I'll explain that right after I move it
brother.
on.
Nice
Good talk.
conversation.
Good talk.
Catch you later.
Absolutely. Now, I'll go right back to the box. In regards to what my last caller was saying, that it appears that there is no out for Trump. I had someone on the program who made a statement that I will always remember. It was MAGA. The individual leaned right. I don't fault that. I make it clear, my doors are always open for folks who lean right. In fact, MAGA are my preferred guests. So what the hell did he say? There is MAGA on every jury. So when we come to the conclusion that Trump is going down, he's inevitably going to fall, I will always go back to that statement that a guest told me. There is MAGA on every jury. And we understand how MAGA would likely vote if Trump was on trial. Going back to the box, we are all stupid for not being united against our government, says I Hear Music. No, you're never going to get everybody united against the government, because the government is always going to stand for certain people depending on what's important to you. Going back to the box, it is Nation Work Association. Nation Work Association. Good afternoon and welcome to the program. For some reason, TikTok is acting funny. By the way, tap the screen. We're up to 35,000. I think Nation is coming through now. Nation Association, good afternoon.
Hello,
okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So how do you feel about go ahead. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, the elephant in the room doesn't appear to be which one of these parties will provide another failed male candidate. I'm waiting to see when the first female president will be elected. I mean, women can be 50% of the population. They can bear our kids. They can help raise our children. They can contribute to the bills of the house. But we can't elect a female president and probably get these cooperations out of our pockets.
There's a lot of females in politics right now. Give me a female that you believe would be a good candidate to run this country.
Nikki Haley. She's Republican. She once served as Secretary of State. Right. I thought she would have ran and won, but she never ran. So my thing is, I mean, and there's lots of other females that are qualified. I mean, my point is even to the fact that why are we electing these 80-year-old men that have racist backgrounds? In America, the greatest country said to be on earth, we can't get an eligible young man or woman within reasonable age that can handle cooperations, war, and all these other famines and all this other crap that's going on. Like, we have these cooperations that we know are behind everything that's going on and dividing us and having us fight one another based on a multitude of different backgrounds and situations. But at the end of the day, they're still not doing what needs to be done for us, regardless.
Well, so in other words, I get what you're saying. So when you said we can't get somebody who doesn't have a racist background, would it be safe to say that in regards to the question I'm asking, is Kanye West hurting the Republican Party? You think he is?
The Republican Party hurts themselves. They fall into a lot of traps. They're not saying what they stand for that will support the people. As a matter of fact, like I said, it all goes back to why should I be considered a Republican or a Democrat? I should be an American. Why can't we all sit
So
down at the table and put
what
both?
do you believe, based on your statement, the Republican Party is not saying what they stand for? What do you believe, in your humble opinion, that the Republican Party stands for? If you had to give their principles, what would you say?
Uh, I would have to say that the Republican Party stands for, you know, small government. Um, I don't know. I guess the trickle down effect to some extent, and the safety net, right? Whereas the Democratic Party is supposed to be for the people and the future and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's just talking points. At
Do
the end of
you
the
not?
day, they still don't
Do
get
you
anything
believe?
done because they blame one another all the time.
Do you believe the Republican Party is for the people, for the working man, for the future?
I believe the Republican Party is for themselves, as most governments are, right? They are for
Okay.
themselves first, then the corporations that pad their pockets so that they can actually go around and get votes, only to then disappear and then argue about, oh, the other party did this, but I can't do anything because it's going to get voted and changed into something else that it shouldn't be, or whatever the case may be. There's always an excuse, but at the end of the day, if a politician does their job, they will be without a job. So why
So
have them
does that?
fool us
So
by saying, let's
based on that statement, does that apply to Biden? Is Biden for the working people? Is Biden for the future?
I definitely can't say Biden is for the future. The future is, you know what? Rent went up for everybody about 25 to 30% in the past few years. And every time I turned on the TV, Biden was talking about fuel prices. So what are we supposed to do? Get out of our highly rented houses and apartments or mortgages and then go live in our cars and then worry about fuel prices? You know what I'm saying? They're always so reactive to something that has already happened, that we've already been suffering for. If they were for us, they would see things that are happening and prevent them from affecting us.
But you're okay. So you're
But
bringing up.
they are always late.
Yeah, so you're bringing up the economy and how much the American worker, the American citizen is suffering from the economy. Somebody in the comments said, bring back Trump. Do you not see how Trump could be better because the economy was better under him? Would you not be more favorable to bringing Trump back?
No, I say we should build off of Trump. Why can't we find somebody that can work with both parties? As a matter of fact, why don't we have the party working together to resolve the problems? Why do I have to pick one side over the other? Aren't they both being paid to get the job done?
Fair enough. What about DeSantis? One of my
Don't they?
callers suggested
Don't
that.
both parties aren't both parties getting paid to get the job done regardless of who's in office? So why is it
Yes,
that they're
but
separating
everybody,
us
yeah,
and
yeah. Wait a minute.
giving us
The
excuses
question
as to why we can't get things done? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, but wait a minute. You're asking good points, but you have to look at how people define them. When you said the politicians are getting paid to get things done, that is true. But everybody has a different opinion of what qualifies as getting things done. For instance, I'm not a fan of stop and frisk, but there are plenty of people who believe stop and frisk reduces crime, and they would be a fan of it and refer to it as getting things done. So you're never going to have a politician meet the specifications of what you stated because everybody defines it differently.
And that's probably why we need to have a first female president, because at the end of the day, yes, you can have your viewpoints and I can have my viewpoints. But if we go from the 80s, 90s, when came out and was a brick, if you couldn't get it in your pocket, now everyone has a cell phone that tracks everything you do, and every month it tells you where you've been for the entire month and how much money you've spent. I mean, let's look at this one thing. We've just had Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday go by. And Cyber Monday, Tuesday morning, they were telling the entire nation how much money we spent in those 4 days or so, those 3 days or so, just from over a weekend, the exact number to the billion. But at the end of the day, we can't count an election.
Wait a minute. You don't.
It takes
Yeah, but wait a
months.
minute.
It takes months to
That
count an
number.
election.
Yeah, but it takes months to count an election because they're trying to do it accurately. Nobody is questioning whether that Cyber Monday number is accurate. That number may be completely wrong. We just are assuming it's right That's why it came in so fast. But how much money was spent on Cyber Monday? You're going to be trusting all of the corporations, all of the web browsers that are giving you their numbers and adding it up. They may be lying about that, but we're not concerned enough to worry about it. So don't think that because it's taking them a long time to count
Exactly.
votes, but they can count. Yeah, I mean, the Cyber Monday numbers may not be accurate either, but I got to move it on, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Roger that. I appreciate it. Have a great one. Thank you.
Absolutely. My TikTok has been a little slow, but I do appreciate you guys rolling with your boy. You could be anywhere you want to be on social media, and the fact that over 900 of you are in here with me is always an honor. Tap the screen. Get your boy likes up to let's work with 40,000. We got over 900 people in here. This is a MAGA friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests, but liberals are welcome too. I don't ban anybody for saying shit. But at the same time, understand the TikTok gods sometimes have a different opinion. So tailor your speech based on them. Not your humble correspondent. I protect First Amendment free speech rights. Jeep gentlemen. Going to the box. Gentlemen. Good afternoon.
How you doing?
We're asking Kanye West is hurting the Republican Party. What do you think?
I think a lot of his personal beliefs get clouded in the politics of the situation. His spiritual beliefs and how he believes don't necessarily jive with all the conservative values that the party has.
Who are you referring to, Kanye or Trump?
Kanye.
Okay, because I don't even know what Trump's spiritual beliefs are. Does he even attend church?
He does, but a big thing is he keeps that on the down low and on the private. He does attend, and he does, as president, he was followed and videoed and tracked doing a lot of that. But a lot of the time, he's kept it on the quiet of what his spiritual and personal beliefs were.
Yeah. Has Trump ever been known to keep anything on the quiet? That's amazing if he's keeping his religion quiet. But in regards to you saying that Kanye West's spiritual belief sometimes affects different things in regards to him, I'm asking a question though. Do you believe the association of well-known conservatives, talking about A. Jones, talking about Candace Owens, talking about Trump, do you believe the association from well-known conservatives with Kanye West has hurt the image of the GOP?
Yes. Oh, for sure. Associations for any political candidate is going to affect their ability to support a political party. Biden's associations, Trump's associations, who they are in the circle with, will definitely dictate their support. This last election and everything, I try not to look at the head of a party, but the administration that they would bring to the office.
Right.
Because if you're going to elect a president, it's not necessarily the president that's going to make all the calls. It's all the administration that he has working for him and under him. So evaluate a candidate based on the people that they keep their circles around, and that's why Kanye does actually cause an issue for him.
So you do buy into the statement, you are who you associate with, or you are who you hang around. You are the company you keep. I believe that's the phrase. You are the company you keep.
Yes, I definitely agree with that, yeah.
Wow. So is there any way, and I appreciate the glasses there at a real marvel. Thank you. Is there any way for Trump to rebound from this? Because also, I'd have to ask you, because before Kanye, it was obviously Nick Fuentes. Why hasn't he condemned any of this stuff?
That's a hard thing because there's so much going on behind the scenes with him, with the FBI, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, as well as the conflicts and stuff on the Biden side with the Hunter Biden laptop and other investigations. There's stuff going on that gets shuffled 10 pages deep when we get other things that are more priority on the social media side of what they want to push for agendas. So there's... it's a fine line.
Wait. But you're saying there's a lot of other things going on. How long does it take to tweet out he has access to Twitter now, and he has his Truth Social network. How long would it take for him to make a quick statement about he strongly condemns Nick Fuentes, doesn't want to have anything to do? He didn't have no problem saying Ron DeSanctimonious. So I don't understand how other things that are going on, like you said, that are deep in the pages, because him meeting with Nick Fuentes is on page 1. How long does it take to issue a condemnation?
Absolutely no time whatsoever. He could.
Right.
He is the king of putting out mean tweets. Everybody knows him for that. So he
So
could
why do you think
definitely
he
put
hasn't
something
put
out
out?
like that.
So why do you think? And by the way, I see in the comments folks are saying that Kanye has been bumped from Twitter again, which
He
we'll
has,
talk about
yes.
that on. We'll talk about that on the free speech side of the hour. But so as you said, he's known for putting out mean tweets and things like that. Why do you believe he hasn't sent out a mean tweet on Nick Fuentes?
I think he's actually trying to play the long game because he's announced his candidacy for presidency way sooner than anybody normally would.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to play the long game with being different indictments being filed and other issues that are going on. I think he's trying to play the long game. I don't think he's actually not aligned with it. I think he wants to, but I just think his advisors have told him, hey, hold off a little bit. It would be good for him to do it on the conservative side, but at the same time, I think we need to see a little more moderation and not necessarily condemn everything right off the cuff.
But I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked another caller, a few callers back that said something similar when he brought up the advisors. Do you see Trump as somebody who actually listens to his advisors?
As a businessman, if he didn't, he's an idiot.
Some would argue he is. I mean, but do you see it? I mean, if Trump was the type of individual that listened to his advisors, I mean, many of the lawsuits, many of the NDAs, the tweets, none of that stuff would have happened. I mean, even Chris Christie, who was part of the team that prepared him for the Biden debates, stated that he didn't even follow their advice on how to go out and debate when Biden responded, "Won't you shut up, man?" Even Chris Christie said, we never taught him to do all of that. He practiced debating with Chris Christie, Kellyanne Conway, Rudolph Giuliani, and I believe there was a couple other parties there. And they came out and stated, when we were doing mock debates, we didn't advise him to act like that. So I'm asking, do you see Trump as somebody who would even follow his advisors?
Here's the catch. The 2022 Trump that we have today is not the same 2020 Trump that we had. He's been in office now. He's played the politics game. Before he became our president, he was not a politician. He was a businessman. He spoke his mind and he said, hey, you're fired right off the cuff because he didn't like you. He didn't deal with you. He didn't want you. Now he's a politician that has a business background. So he looks at things very differently now, especially after having your home raided by the FBI.
So do you think he's better off now, having served 4 years? Do you think he would be a better leader for this country now than he would have been in 2020?
Yes and no. There's two sides to that. I think he has a lot more eyes opened mentality to what his position would be and how much influence he has. But at the same time, I think he's lost a bit of his fire for the get it done. I'm here for the American people. I'm going to do what's right based on that, not necessarily the political game. Okay. I think being in office, because he has been impeached already.
Twice, yes. Okay, before I move, I gotta part ways with you, but before I move it on, based on what you said before I let you go, if it came down to Trump and DeSantis in the primaries, who you got?
That is a very difficult one. I think DeSantis is in a great position as a Florida governor, and I don't think it would be beneficial for the country for him to jeopardize giving up that position and allowing Florida to sway in a different direction.
Hang on. I got an answer for that. I'll let you continue. I got an answer for that. Right now on the books in Florida, there are folks in the House in that state trying to pass a law that makes it so that the governor does not have to resign if he runs for president, which would answer your question. I don't want Florida to lose him as a governor, meaning that he could run for president, and if he loses, he could remain in office as governor. Now, who would you have if that goes through, which they're trying to do in Florida? Who would you have if DeSantis and Trump were on a ticket for the primary?
A very close race and choice between the two, but I would have to still go with Trump. And the reason being is because Trump has actually been in the arena of dealing with international policy, where DeSantis has not. He's only done with local, state, and some federal instances. DeSantis doesn't have the international background that Trump has already had and experienced. So, unfortunately, I still sway towards Trump for that reason.
But you said unfortunately. Wow, that's pretty strong. I got to move it on.
I say that because they're both great leaders, and I would trust both of them.
Fair enough. Jeep, good talk. Catch you on the next one.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Absolutely a pleasure. Looking in the comments, Trump didn't have political experience when he got elected. That is true. For folks who are suggesting, well, I don't want such and such because they weren't. President Obama did not have any significant political experience either. He was a senator, talking about President Obama, for 2 years. And obviously, when he got elected in 2008, that means he had been spending the last year or so campaigning for president. So essentially, he had about a good solid year of political experience as a senator. Now, if you want to talk about community organizer and things like that in Chicago politics, we could go into that. But make no mistake about it, Barack Obama didn't have anywhere near enough experience if you want to say what a presidential candidate should have. And Barack Obama is viewed as a very successful president. I understand my audience is MAGA and may tell me to go to hell with that statement. That's fine. But he served 2 terms. The economy was significantly better than it was when he was inaugurated. Obama got inaugurated in January of 2009. And if you look at what the economy was like in January of 2009, and you compare that to the economy that Trump dealt with when he got inaugurated in January of 2017, there's no denying that things got better under Obama. It was a successful presidency. Going back to the box, Preacher, SL. Good afternoon, Preacher. Welcome back to the program. I didn't think your views would be high. Why not? Preacher, good afternoon.
What's
Kanye
up, bro?
West.
Hold on. Let me just start out by saying if Trump and DeSantis run in the primary, I hope Trump wins. And I'm a liberal, but I hope Trump wins. DeSantis
for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, yes. I hope DeSantis wins.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would definitely. Now, on Kanye, we told y'all, for y'all listening, we told y'all, okay? Y'all didn't listen. When Kanye's told y'all something nice that you like to hear, y'all pumped his name. Mm-hmm. Once he started saying something you didn't like, you get what you get. We know our people. For you MAGAs and non-black people, we know our people. And we know when you should bail out.
You swinging for the fences. I'm going to let you talk. You're swinging for the fences. I've said before that Kanye West is a wild card, and he is on your side till he's not on your side. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's him. That's right. He's on your side until he's not. I agree.
So will he be, you think you'll see any more photo ops of Kanye West at Mar-a-Lago?
No, absolutely not. And for those that are saying that Trump probably didn't know Nick Fuentes, if a person walks up to me and says, hey, my name is so-and-so, within 5 seconds, I can find out who he is with my phone. And I'm an idiot. And I can find out who the guy is. And I say idiot because I don't have what Trump has surrounding him. And that's why I say that. But I have a smartphone.
I will say this though. If somebody walks up to you, that's one thing. But when somebody's in your home, you want to know who they are. And then secondary, when you got access to all of the trimmings of the Secret Service, there's no excuse for you not to know who the hell's in your house when you got access to the Secret Service. That's just being negligent at that point.
Because they knew who his name was. The Secret Service's job is to vet whoever comes in there. You got Kanye coming in, and you got his friend. His friend name is so-and-so. So-and-so had to show some type of ID. That's a fact. Yeah. So-and-so had to show some type of ID.
So I got to ask you this question, because it's in the comments. Kip295 is straight out, flat out stated 4 words. Trump is not racist. Do you see any intolerance from Trump himself?
Trump, I'm a New Yorker. Let's first start out with that. So,
okay.
For all of you, for everyone else, we knew Trump from the beginning. So there are things that he did that we would call him racist. You know, with the not renting to blacks, with the calling, with the ad calling for the death penalty of the individuals that didn't
Central
rape
Park
the,
5.
you
No,
know,
it's Central Park
Central
5.
Park 5. We
Yeah.
remember that. And then when Trump was presented with, hey, they didn't do it, his exact words are, well, they probably was in there doing something, you know. So, yeah,
Did
he
he
said they
really say
probably was, yes, he said they were probably was wilding is what he used. They probably was
Oh
in there
my God.
wilding because that was a phrase that they use up there. And that's what he said. So instead of retracting it, saying, hey, those individuals were innocent, this, that, and the third, he just kept running with it. So, I mean, you guys can, I mean, from everything from, hey, we're going to keep all of the Muslims out until we figure out what's going on. You don't say that to people. We're going to keep
Yeah,
them
he said
all
I
out
want
until
to.
they.
Yeah, I've actually played that, and I've had because folks did not realize. He said I want a total. I'm calling for a total and complete ban on all Muslims until we figure out what the hell's going on. He did. Yeah, he definitely said that because I
Correct.
played the clip. Yeah.
He said to the squad they need to go back where they come from. You know, as far as calling the NFL players SOBs for taking a knee, you know, there's particular things that he has done. You know,
So,
so
based on what you're saying, then I have to ask you, in your humble opinion, is it possible is it safe to say, based on what you're saying, that not only did President Trump know who Nick Fuentes was, but he invited him after realizing this guy's a supremacist and because he wanted him in the house? Do you believe that at all?
yes, he wanted him in there because at the same time, those are Trump's supporters. Trump has, unfortunately, those type of people are his supporters. Listen, Trump ain't start racism.
Oh
And
yeah.
when Trump is gone, racism is going to be here. So let's be clear to the audience. Trump did not start racism. What
No,
I think he
we know
does
that.
is tap into it. What I think he does is plug into it. You
But
know,
so I gotta ask
I'm
you a
not,
weird.
and you know what? I'm not mad at him. I don't dislike Trump. I'm a liberal and don't dislike him. He does what he's allowed to do. If you listen, if I'm going down the highway and the speed limit is 70 and there's a highway patrol there and I do 100 and he don't stop me, don't be mad at me. He let me
Fair
go.
enough. Let me ask you a more weird ass question because obviously Kanye West looks like you and me. Is he? Do you think he's intolerant to African Americans?
I think he wants to be accepted by people that don't look like him, even though he was.
Well,
It's his
wait a
music.
minute.
He
But
was,
wait a
but he
minute.
wants to be
Even if you
accepted on a different level.
But wait a minute. I get what you're saying. He wants to be accepted by other folks, but shit, Wayne Brady is accepted by white people. He ain't acting like that. There's got to be more to it than wanting to be accepted by white people. Wayne Brady just
Well,
made it. Wayne Brady is Wayne Brady would be the quintessential. He would be the model of a black man that has been overwhelmingly accepted by white people. But he's not acting like that.
right, that's correct. But the goal is to be accepted. The route in which way you take it, that's something totally different. You
But
understand? So the way that
yeah,
the way that Kanye is taking the route is a way that that basically disrespects everyone else. Like he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to disrespect
no,
everyone
but
else to be accepted by someone else. Because
well,
remember,
no,
Wayne Brady
no.
didn't want to say that little line on the David Chappelle show. It was an
Oh, that
interview.
was
There was a
good.
line. He didn't really want to say that line. Okay. He said, oh, I really didn't want to say that because of his
You're
brand.
talking. You're talking about is Wayne Brady gonna have to smack a bitch? You talking about that line?
Yes. Yes. He didn't want to say that. He said in an interview, he said, oh, I didn't want to say that. They had to convince me to say that. He said, my
Yeah,
brand gonna be affected. So this is what I'm saying. Wayne Brady took the route a different way. It's as
yeah.
simple as that.
Fair enough. I got to move it on, but yeah,
No problem.
When you say Kanye West wants to be accepted, I don't think it's that he want to be accepted by white people. It's a specific part of the white population he's targeting.
That's what
But
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I don't mean, it's a specific population because that Alex Jones interview was just Oh my!
You know something? I gotta watch that because I seen a few political pundits. I seen a few political pundits that actually said Alex. I don't want to say his name because he gets bad, but they said that even Jones looked at Kanye
Yes,
West like, "What the hell are you saying?"
he tried to
I
give him
gotta
a
move it on
softball.
though.
He tried to give him a softball and back out of it. Nope.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Good
thanks a
talk,
lot,
man. Go
brother,
on back to
and you
preach.
have a good one. Yes,
You
you have
too.
a
You
good one.
too. Always good to talk to. Preach. Like I said, folks, I don't ban, block, or censor anyone. I get folks from both sides of the aisle. You see, I've had plenty of strong MAGA. I've had people on the left. So it's not about trying to have individuals on here from particular sides of the aisle. I say it in every broadcast. Although I appreciate you rolling with your boy, tap the screen. Keep them likes coming in, almost 45,000. But I say it on every broadcast. Although I appreciate you being on the program, tuning in, there are plenty of other places you can go on social media if you prefer echo chambers. There are plenty of programs where you got nothing but liberals bashing the hell out of right. Plenty of places you can go where everybody in the box is wearing a red hat. We don't do that here, folks. We maintain civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle. The whole goal and purpose of this, even in my tiny ass corner of social media, is to show that if we can do it here, they can do that shit in Washington. They're just not trying. Going back to the box, appreciate the sentiments in the comments and follow the program. Helps out your boy, helps out the algorithms, and we can keep this going. The light. Good afternoon to the light. Together, yeah, to some degree. The light. Is Kanye West hurting the GOP image? Good evening or good afternoon.
I mean, Kanye is very misunderstood. You got to think, even like the last thing that just got aired out with like him and Hitler being on like the like Semitic things, like he gets misconstrued. Think about it. He says because he's a Christian, he loves Hitler, as you're supposed to love everybody, forgive everybody for what they do. You know what I mean? Which is a powerful thing, is you could be around
Well,
people
okay,
without
I'll let you
discrimination.
continue. I'll let you continue. But the first question I want to ask you is: do you believe what Kanye is saying is anti-Semitic at all?
I mean, look what's going on with him. We have the big corporate greedy Americans and from other countries basically trying to cancel him. Bank
So is that a yes
accounts,
or a
his
no?
brand.
I want to be clear. I want to clarify. Is that a yes or no?
No, no,
Okay.
he's not being racist or anti-Semitic at all. What he's doing is he's speaking truth. You know what I mean? He's talking about things which a lot of people are scared to talk about. He's talking about things without spreading hate, only awareness. You know what I mean? Think about it. There's so much division brought to people by the massive elites, so we fight each other instead of stepping out of the box, looking from every perspective and addressing the situation and what's happening
So,
without
so
hate.
when so when Kanye stated that there are good things about Adolf, you think that's just stepping out of the box and saying what other people are afraid to say?
Yes, like I'm positive Kanye doesn't like that Hitler killed a whole bunch of people and tried to exterminate a race. What Kanye did like is Hitler's inventions, like the microphone. These are things that he stated.
But
You
he
know, he's
didn't
not
invent
saying,
that.
oh,
The microphone, I believe,
well,
was invented by a black man. Adolf didn't invent the microphone. That's not even true.
he was stating that's what I'm saying. I didn't really look into this too much as I just saw it yesterday, but he was just
Yeah,
stating
it's not
inventions or
even. Yeah,
something
it's not
that
even true.
that he brought to light. But look, even if that's not true, and he was to believe something like he's just basically expressing reasons why he was good on this planet. You know, the good things he did on this planet to not to make the bad look good. You know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to. What he is bugging out a little bit. You know what I mean? But you got to look what's going on. He's getting pushed into the corner. He's getting everything taken away from him. He's very out there, but he's
How did,
actually
but,
kind of
but
genius.
okay, let's go with what you're saying. He's getting pushed in the corner, having things taken away from him. Why would anybody in his situation decide to come out and defend Adolf at this point? What is there to gain by talking about? I'm happy that Adolf, the guy who killed 6 million people, invented the microphone, which is not even
No,
true,
but
by the way. But what is the purpose of even bringing that up?
this is what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure he didn't bring. I didn't watch the whole interview.
Watch
Like,
that. Yeah,
but I'm
watch it.
pretty. I'm pretty positive that he doesn't like that Hitler tried to exterminate a whole, you know what I mean, a whole religion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was just basically trying to express how everybody needs to step out of the box. Even though people do wrong things, they also bring good things into this world. But it's not like on a Hitler thing.
Yeah,
Like, think about his
but
perception. It's about
you
looking
know
at
what?
every
To
side. Like,
me, yeah, I get your point, but to me, what you sound like, and I'm from the south side of Chicago. I know plenty of folks. It kind of reminds. I know plenty of gangbangers and shit like that in my past. You sound like a mother that is at the funeral or at court saying my son was a good boy who is on trial for multiple murders or laying in a casket after being killed by rivals for his lifestyle, pointing out that he invented the microphone or something like that, when he has all of these atrocities in his past, who the hell's going to
like
hear that?
No, like 100%. The interview he did, I don't understand why he went on that. But I'm just saying, like his outlook on a lot of things is like I said. Like there's this great quote by Simon Wales. She's a female writer. It says, "Attachment is a great fabricator of illusions. That
Okay.
reality can only be attained by those who are detached." Meaning that you have to look at everything from everybody's perspective. Like even just before somebody made a quote as in we need to come together, and you're like, oh, there's no way. But think about it, there is a way. There's so much division put in America, especially America, division between race, between culture, between sexuality,
Yeah, but
the
that ain't.
left,
But you're,
but
we're
let no but
talking about.
listen to me, let me express this.
I
The
am. Go
left,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the right. It's to keep us confused to what's going on, which is basically the big corporations, the elites controlling everything. As we are not in control, we're all near puppets. Like, think
Okay.
about it. It's even happening to Kanye. He's getting canceled out by not Jewish people, by the elites, by big corporate governments. He's too, like I said, he's too in
But wait a
tuned
minute. Okay, now
with
let me get in here. Let me get in here. Hold on. We live in a capitalist society. Corporations focus on their bottom line. If you're dealing with a partner or somebody you're sponsoring and they're saying things that's going to destroy your customer base, you're going to cancel them. What Kanye is saying is costing these companies customers. What do you expect him to do? Defend his free speech, even though he's costing them all of their. That's the only purpose they're in business, is to make money. And he's costing them all kinds of money with these statements. If you had Kanye West on your board, or you were sponsoring him as a celebrity, and he was doing this and hurting your bottom line as a businessman, would you keep him on? Would you continue sponsoring him?
No, I'm not speaking from the sponsoring aspect. Like, I'm not saying Adidas and Easy. I'm talking about banks freezing his accounts. I'm talking about
That's
you
the
know what I mean. I'm
same
talking about
thing. But that's the same thing.
no,
Even the
it's not
wait a
a
minute, hold on.
bank. Think
The
about it. That's
banks,
somebody's money.
right, but the banks also are in business to make money. If other Jewish people start coming up and saying, well, if you got his money in here, I'm not going to keep my money in here, what would you do as a banker?
So then there's no way you should be able to absolutely freeze an account. Then you would have to do the legal
Freezing it.
things and the steps. You would have to give notice as everything is legal. In other words, if we're living like this, then guess what? Every drug dealer on the street can stay in the street. You know what I mean? You can't everything has to be one way. If your legalities, you have got to lead a straight line. You know what I
Well,
mean? And
but
this is the thing.
yeah,
Like
but
everybody wants to
banks don't take
divide
the money.
us.
Yeah, but banks don't take the money from drug dealers either. I mean, I get what you're pointing. They do keep it as a
I
straight
mean,
line.
yes, hold on. Yes, they do. Think about, come on now. We have gangbangers owning record labels, funneling money. I mean, nonprofit organizations, money's going into it as they pay rental properties and trucking properties. Drug money builds this country
Okay. That is
for
true.
for for, for decades and decades, just underneath things. You know what
All
I
right,
mean?
so I get it.
Not blatantly. You know what I mean? But like I said, like there's just so much out here. Like Kanye, it's all more illusions to keep us divided. Like I was trying to say, like even before you said, there's always going to be a left and there's always going to be division, presidents. How about we have two presidents? You know what I mean? How about we stop the division? Even you said, okay, a capitalist rate. How about that's another like thing? Like some countries are communist, like
Yeah, but
you
wait
know
a
what I
minute.
mean?
Hold on, hold
Like,
on. I don't.
but
I
no,
mean,
hold on.
you're
Let
giving me
me
a
express this
laundry
point
list.
because
The stuff you're saying is almost fairy tale. Like, I'll wrap it up. I'll give you a few seconds. Go ahead.
it's not fairy tale. I'm just saying, like, everything needs to be regulated and straight by the people.
Two
I'm talking about
presidents.
things are getting things.
Two
Think
presidents.
about it. It's a way
Two.
for everybody to speak and normalize things. Try to fix things. Like, look what's happening with our country. They're trying to push fake inflation. You know what I mean? Think about it. Amazon went last year. They made 180 billion in profits. This year they made 260 billion in
But you
profits.
want, but
After
wait a minute. You
everybody.
want a capitalist society. In a capitalist society, that's what you're going to have is people making a mint like that. That's what
But
happens in a
this is
capitalist society.
But this is what I'm talking about. That's another division. How about you don't divide and you take from each side? The division causes us to fight instead of resolving the issues. We need some of each. Think about it. If a company is profiting off of our people, American people, if you have to go into a store and this company is making thousands of percents in profit for necessities, for your food, your clothing, for things you need to survive. It should be like there should be caps. Like
That's
people should, like I'm
socialism.
saying,
That's
like
socialism.
like I'm like I'm saying, it's everything from each side. There has to be restrictions. There has to be, other words, things are going to continuously get out of hand as we fight each other, and we're not going to be able to correct these things. You
All
know what
right.
I mean? Like
Okay.
we're so occupied, we're basically living as willful slaves to
All right.
barely
All right.
make it.
All right. Light. I got to move it on, but you're
Yeah,
talking
do what you gotta
about.
do. You know, it was good. It's just like people need to come together and take everything from each side
All right.
to
Fair
fix
enough.
what the problems are. All right,
Fair
brother.
enough, man. All right. Good talk. Now, like I said, I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their opinions, and I'm fine with his opinion. I just believe that, like I told him, some of that stuff is fairy tale, like the two presidents putting a cap on how much corporations can own. Listen, I'm a liberal at the end of the day. Do I believe folks like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk should be able to make that kind of money when we got homelessness all over the country? As a liberal, I'm down with the caps. But this is a capitalist country. That shit's never going to fly. So I understand when I want something that might also be a fairy tale. I mean, I don't believe an American citizen should be able to own a tank, but I know people on the right are not going to agree with that. People on the right believe you should be able to have whatever weapon the military has. So I'm willing to admit I want shit that some might consider as a fairy tale, which is why I told that last caller the kumbaya stuff you're talking about, a lot of it qualifies as fairy tales. Look it in the comments. Why aren't you accepting of something other than capitalism? After I just gave that speech, I'm assuming you realized that I would be. James 99. Libs take care of illegals over their own people, and they are 100% okay with it, says Jim the Germ. I wouldn't go that far with it. And the reason why I say that is because if you are a Guatemalan right now trying to leave Guatemala and come to America, do you feel like that Guatemalan has a 100% guarantee that when he gets here, he'll be taken care of better than American people? There's no guarantee of that. There's a reason why they're finding immigrants dead from being smuggled in the back of trucks and things like that. It's because they're not all guaranteed a safe entry. How many illegals lose their life entering this country damn near every day? If there were open borders, that wouldn't be happening. If there were open borders, there wouldn't be a need to smuggle. The borders are open. So clearly something is wrong with the statement that the borders are open. You wouldn't have families being separated, which is what was happening under Obama and Trump when you guys were suggesting that Obama was for open borders. Then all of a sudden Trump comes up, well, you know, Obama was separating families too. No, you said he was for open borders. Now all of a sudden you said he was actually separating families? Get your stories right, people. Going back to the box, it is Bob the Gambler. Good afternoon, Bob the Gambler. I love the name. For some reason, it looks like TikTok is not acting right. Bob the Gambler, I tried to bring you on. We'll try this again. The app is acting. But let's try this one more time. I don't know, Bob the Gambler, you didn't come through, but we do have Aim to Please. That almost sounds like a Triple X name. Aim to Please. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
It's doing good. What do
Yeah,
you think? You think Kanye?
I said it too. I say, watch, he gonna catch me.
Say that again. Aim to Please.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
say
hear me?
he's gonna accept me right when I get in this dead zone.
Oh, and that's what it appears to be happening. You
Yeah,
are
I can hear
breaking.
you. You just caught me in the.
Okay, yeah, you definitely are
Yeah,
in
you
the.
caught me in the dead zone. I said he was gonna.
Yeah, you're going. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I caught you at that point. Looking in the comments real quick, Obama was the one throwing kids in cages and separating families, says Brandon. Yeah, and it does seem to be a historical fact that Obama was separating families. But while he was doing that, what was the Republican Party saying? Obama's for open borders. So clearly your stories don't come across as matching. While he's in office, doing exactly what you want him to do, which is defend and protect the border and hold people accountable for coming in illegally, he's separating and putting kids in cages, as you say. But as opposed to admitting the truth that Obama is protecting the borders, you decide to go around and say he's for open borders. Then Trump comes in office doing the exact same thing, which you clearly favor, which is protecting the border. And now that he's receiving criticism for it, you want to go back and now say, actually, Barack Obama was doing the same damn thing. It's too late now. It's too late. You've already criticized this man and said something else. Don't go back in time and try to change it because it makes Trump look better. That's all I'm saying is call a spade, no matter who's dealing the cards. Call a strike, no matter who's up to bat. When you lie like that, when you misrepresent yourself like that, it's pretty easy for talking heads like myself to call it out. Unfortunately, folks, even though there's hundreds of people in here, I am on lunch break, and I do have to officially terminate the live. I always appreciate the fact that you guys are rolling with your boy. 54,000 likes. Hot damn, you guys have been very heavy on the participation. This is always a MAGA-friendly program. I make it clear, MAGA are my preferred guests. Plenty of patriots came through today. Liberals are welcome to the program. As always, I don't ban, block, or censor anyone. Your comments are always welcome here. I generally am on 7 p.m. Central Time. For you guys who like to talk this shit, hit the follow button. This is what we do here. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.